Well, hey there. We should be live broadcasting to the world here. If you're here and you can hear me, let me know. Love to say hello. Hopefully the audio is pretty good. I don't know how it'll be with this mic, but it should be better because I got the fans on, some things rolling. So let me know if you can hear me. If you're here, say hi in the comments. Cheers. Have a beer. Hang out if you're of the drinking type. I see 4 people. Somebody's here. Oh, hi, Izzy. Love you too, Izzy. Izzy is my little niece. Does Lucas say I love you too? It's for his first time. All the family's on. Andy, Divot. Thanks, Andy. Let me know the audio's good. Hi, Dibs. Glad you got to come see the bus, Divot, while you're here in town. So, we'll hang out a little bit here. I've been working away today, doing kind of all sorts of random stuff, trying to get the bathroom to a state where I could do some, oh, Lucas is in the pool. Trying to get it to a state where I could do some work in the bathroom today. But we made some realizations that I had to move an entire wall, so that took up a little bit of time. But, oh, awesome. Tim, Nancy, Divot, and Peanut checking in. So the whole Wilkinson's crew, except for Bo. Where's Bo? But glad you guys are here and all hanging out. Yeah, Kevin, the bed, it has sheets. Well, don't let it fool you. That's just a duvet cover and a comforter and some pillows because I needed to see how it looked and if I liked it. There's no actual sheets on the bed right now, unfortunately. I have not slept in here yet. It could probably be slept in, and I came close to doing it the other night because I actually drove it home, but it was just way too hot. I was not about to have my first nights in here be some hot, humid nights, although there will be plenty of those. Wasn't going to start off that way, so. But it is exciting to see sheets back here and know that they look good and I like them, and that sleeping in the bed is not that far away, so pretty close here. So who else do we have here? I know we got Andy, Divot, Kevin's here. See a couple other people on here. Say hi if you're here. Don't be shy. We're all just hanging out, having a good time, chatting about bus things. Somebody else has arrived. Say hello in the comments. See if a few more people will hop on, and then I'll start going through some questions. You know, I had initially planned for this to be a working live stream. And I thought about it and I was like, well, you guys are gonna be sitting here while I'm out of the bus cutting things, and I don't know how well it would work out. So we'll get to some Q&A. Definitely if you have questions, comment away about anything, bus related, life related. I'll show you guys some updates because, you know, if you're coming on the live, you're showing the dedication here. You're not just waiting for the YouTube video. So I'm going to make it worth your while. We're going to show you some things that other people will not have seen for a little while yet, which bed sheets is one of them. So there's your first sneak peek right there, guys. Oh, Bo's napping. Jeez, of course Bo's napping. Tim and Nancy, you got to come see the bus in person sometime soon. But thank you for saying it looks great. Very happy, especially the kitchen. Very happy with all of this and how this has turned out. The backsplash, the trim, everything back here is just looking fantastic. So my mom has arrived and being nice enough to watch the dogs back home. So thanks, Mom. Hopefully the dogs don't hear my voice and wonder where I am. But yeah, so I want to show you guys some things. I'll show you kind of where we're at with the bathroom, and I'm hoping like this week is going to be really charged away on the bathroom. I got my composting, or my urine diverter for my composting toilet. So I got to make the box and all that and mock all that up, because that's going to be built into the bathroom. So that's another big project, but gotta get some backer board up and probably some tile and things like that first. So, well, it is 5:05, and I'm gonna start firing away with some questions that I got. I asked people for a few questions on Instagram, related to bus life, whatever, and got a decent little variety here. Somebody, well, I don't know if you're on FCuz7, but you want to see the shitter bathroom, you're going to see it, but it's not that exciting. There is no crapper yet. And one of my old fraternity brothers asked in my story if there were participation ribbons hanging on the wall in my story. Yes, there are, but I am staying in my brother's room from high school and growing up, so there are still some participation ribbons on the wall. They are not mine. I am not still basking in my glory days with the ribbons on the wall. Rytang Tattooer, which Rytang reached out this week and said he loved the bus. He's a fellow shuttle busser. He asked how long the bus was. And said it looks huge on YouTube. And I was thinking the other day, I was looking at it outside, and I was like, you know what? The bus isn't that big. It's really not that big. And maybe it was just like me telling myself that now it's going to be my only vehicle. But it's 32 feet long, bumper to bumper, which is not a small vehicle by any means. But I've been driving it around the last day or two, which is pretty exciting. Finally got it insured last week, and then according to the lady at the DMV, even though I do not have plates right now and I've sent all my registration stuff in, I can legally drive it on the road in the state of Wisconsin if I have the paperwork. So I've been taking her word for it. Haven't been pulled over yet. Also haven't gone by a cop yet, so maybe that's why I haven't been pulled over. But no, it drives really great. Obviously, it's going to take some adjustment to get used to, like, just going slower and never having a car to feel like going fast in. But it is what it is, and I still kind of, it's fun to be driving around in the big rig. So my mom commented and said, and electricity. So another, maybe we'll give you guys that sneak peek too, because that's super exciting. All these lights, you see this outlet over here, charging my computer, that is fully functional. We are running off batteries, the actual batteries, lithium batteries in the back. We've got everything hooked up. So we have 110, 12 volt, solar panels were pulling power earlier today. I'm inside now, but I could plug in right now if I want to and get the batteries charged. So that is like mega huge step. And I couldn't have done it without Chris from Schooly Living. You guys hear me talk about Chris and Sarah all the time, whether it's Instagram stories, YouTube videos, whatever. But they have been such a huge help in the whole build, but especially with the electrical. Chris really knows what he's doing, and you know, helped me get set up with all the right things, and then helped me install them even. So I would be in a different situation if it weren't for Chris. Chris, if you're watching, thank you, or you watch this in the future, thank you. You guys know I appreciate you so much. But it's all done. So like, this thing's super close to being livable. Really my only utility that I still have to finalize. We have running water. I'll show you that. Look at this. Ta-da! So there's running water. Just draining into a bucket right now, which, you know, is what it is. But, I mean, I could live in it and drain it into a bucket for now. But plumbing will be pretty quickly here in the future. And then obviously electrical, and then propane is my last thing. So my cooktop, which is right here, little 2-burner cooktop. That guy is just set in there for now. Looks fancy, but doesn't do anything right now. But that's because I'm trying to find a propane tank secondhand off Facebook Marketplace that is dedicated for RV usage. So it's meant to be permanently mounted to an RV. They're typically bigger tanks. The ones I've been looking at are about like 20 or 2 20-pound tanks. So your standard propane for a grill. Looking to get one that's about just bigger than 2 of those. So they're about like $700 brand new, and I'm not trying to pay that brand new. Finding them on Facebook Marketplace. Some of them, they pop up here and there, and they usually go pretty quickly. And they're either like brand new and in good shape or in really mega rough shape. So I've been working on that, but once that's done, that's my last utility. I'll have hot water and I'll be able to cook. So Jumanji, what's up? How we doing? Glad to see you here. Jumanji's a regular in our comment section, so glad to see you here. Thanks for hopping on with us. But yeah, that's for me. I mean, that's the propane is obviously pretty essential to actually living in here because I need it to cook. Now that being said, I will have like a toaster oven and an instant pot and some other things, but I'll do a lot of my cooking here on the propane cooktop. So one more utility, and yeah, then this thing is fully set. And even as it is right now, it's super exciting. So Dibbit asks, how do I refill the water source? So under the bed, whoop, under there. So this is the front area of the bed. This is the dog den down here. And then behind this black wall is my water tank. And so I have the ability, 100 gallons fresh water down here. And that plumbs in here through a water pump and all that. So I can run off of that, or I can just plug in to a hose or like a city water hookup, and that just bypasses everything and gives me all the water pressure I need, and I can run it off of there. So 2 options of water, and now that it is just me, myself, and I, and the dogs, 100 gallons of water, I am certain I could probably get to last me a month. If I'm not showering in the bus or taking a few showers in the bus, doing more like lakes and rivers and whatever other shower source I can find. But I think the dogs are going to be a pretty big consumer of water. 2 decent-sized dogs, they like to drink a lot of water. Like my mom knows, we're refilling the bowl all the time. But I think 100 gallons is going to last me a lot of time, and I'm not really going to be pressed for conserving water, which is really nice. So we'll see about that. I'll definitely do some videos on that once I'm on the road, trying to give people a perspective of how much water you should need in a bus. For one person, obviously I'm just one person, 2 dogs, so can't give the perspective of 2 or 3 or more people, but you can just multiply it, and yeah. So I think, as well as the propane, I really foresee myself only having to fill like maybe every month or 2, especially if I have a bigger tank. Hopefully not going to have to fill that very much, which is also why I want to go with a permanent mounted tank that's nice and large, rather than just 2 20-pound grill tanks. So yeah. Let's hop back to some of these questions here. My sister asked, where's the first place I'll go on the bus? So this has been asked many times before. And first place I'll go, now I officially have like a first out-of-state destination, which is Asheville, North Carolina, in the middle of September. So that's my first takeoff. I'm gonna go out there. Got some friends getting married, and I got a really good friend from when I studied abroad that I met who lives in Asheville. Travis, if you're watching, I'm coming. But gonna go spend like a week or so out there, and then probably head west. So that's my plan as of now. Kind of daunting to know that it's coming quickly, but it's also good to feel like things are finishing up, and like I actually have running water. I can definitely live in here. Like, yes, it would be not ideal. I don't have a toilet. That'll get done by then, certainly, and even the shower. But there's some other finishing bits that will have to happen, but that's all stuff that can be done on the road. So yeah, Asheville, North Carolina is officially the first destination. I'll probably do some trips up northern Wisconsin. My family's got a place up there and a little extra lot. Hopefully I can park my bus on. So, but first big trip, Asheville. Jumanji's said, oh, he asked what I was looking for on Facebook Marketplace. I'm looking for propane tanks, RV propane tanks. If you find any, let me know. But I'm usually on there just about every day searching. And that's how you got to do it. If you are looking for at Facebook Marketplace or looking for anything secondhand, just like make it a habit of every day, just search it like once in the morning, once in the evening, because things come and go on there all the time, especially depending on what it is. And so I've had, like, you guys have seen how many things I've gotten off Facebook Marketplace. The captain's chair, the fridge, the sink, the faucet, our gray water tanks, all sorts of stuff. And most of it's in really good shape or like never used, and you get it for way cheaper than you would buying straight from the manufacturer. So search often. And he also mentioned about Planet Fitness membership, which I will certainly have for extra showers. Jacoby asked how my butt is. So I'm guessing the 9 of you who are on here are with me enough to know that my butt cyst, I got surgery, got an infected cyst removed on my butt finally. As of like 2 weeks ago, it's still open, still packing it and doing dressing changes every day, but my doctor said I am a super healer. So that's a good sign, and I can sit and it doesn't hurt. And I was on my back underneath the bus earlier today, and even touching it and touching my back and butt to the ground doesn't hurt. So it has made working much more enjoyable, and I'm ready to not have a bandage on my butt all the time and be ready to move forward and get back on a bike. My bike has been getting overhauled at my buddy Nick's shop, so I'm excited to get that back and then hopefully get some fall riding done out west. So yeah, David said my butt healing's a good superpower. It is. If there's one superpower I'm gonna have, butt wound healing is probably top of my list. So Elkhart, Indiana is a place to find all RV related stuff. Good to know. I know Indiana is a pretty big RV area. So Kevin asked if I installed the gray tank under the bus, which yes, I have two. I actually did 2 gray tanks. So on that side, behind basically the bathroom, so basically under the bed, but under the bus. That side I think is the 40-gallon, and this is the 30-gallon tank. So I've got 70 gallons total of gray water, which if you figure, a lot of the fresh water is going to be consumed or used for outdoor shower, things like that. So not all those 100 gallons are going to go into the gray tanks. So I think 70 gallons for me seemed like plenty of gray water to have. And I liked separating it rather than trying to stuff one big tank. Because there wasn't really totally space for one single large tank under the bus. but B, it allowed me to like play with the balance a little bit better underneath the bus and weight balance everything a lot better, which is definitely important and something I think not everybody considers. So Jumanji's asking how big the propane tank. I have been looking at, I mean, I've not been super picky because it's kind of what comes up, and they all seem to vary anywhere between like 10 gallons to 13 gallons is kind of the range I've been looking at. 12.2 is one of the ones that seems to pop up pretty frequently, but it's slightly larger than 2 barbecue grill tanks. And although the barbecue grill tanks are easier to fill, you can do them gas stations, Home Depots, grocery stores, they're all over the place. I'm just probably not going to use that much propane. So, you know, the once every month or two where I got to go seek out a place that can fill the propane, I don't think is that going to be that big of a deal. But we'll see. So, Kobe's asking about outdoor entertainment. Speakers, movie lights, awning, definitely. So as of now, I have 4 LED pod lights. I've got 2 on that side and 2 on this side to light up the outside on the sides, and those switches run off the house batteries. And then when I say house batteries, I mean my actual like lithium batteries in the back, not the bus batteries. And then I also have a front light bar and a rear light bar. Those run off the bus batteries. And my thought was the front and the rear, I'm probably only really going to be using when I'm driving. You know, the front almost only, certainly when I'm in the middle of nowhere because it's so freaking bright. And the rear will just be nice for backing up, you know, camp spots late at night. And more commonly, I'm going to be on the sides of the bus hanging out. So that's why I wanted those to be on the house batteries so I can just run them and not have to worry about them. Granted, they don't pull that much power, but that way I don't have to worry about them draining the bus batteries. So right now, lights are really the only thing I have. Speakers probably won't. Probably just going to rock a Bluetooth speaker. Somebody asked me that yesterday if I was going to put speakers in the bus. And it did used to have speakers 2 in the front and 2 in the rear, and I still have the speaker cables running to the rear and the ones hanging out here up front. But like they're such old speakers, they're really crappy. So like if I was gonna rewire them and put them in, I'd get new speakers, and that's just not high on my priority list right now. So while driving, probably gonna be a Bluetooth speaker, and while parked, probably gonna be a Bluetooth speaker. But awning is definitely on the list. I really want an awning, some sort of shade outside, mostly just for the dogs. I mean, I would love the shade as well, and it would be nice, but I want them to be able to lay outside and lay in the shade. Willa loves to be outside, and she will find shady spots under trees and stuff and just like lay outside for hours. Sometimes she lays in the direct sun and just sunbathes, but sometimes she lays in the shade, and I want them to have that option so they could be outside and not want to like always be in the bus. So we'll see. I got to come up with some way of doing the awning, and that may be something kind of once I'm on the road. Again, it'd be really nice, but not super high on my priority list, as I'll be kind of heading into probably more fall, cooler weather, not necessarily blistering heat all the time, at least initially. So Kevin said Tractor Supply has 30-pound propane tanks. Good to know. So I was at Menards yesterday, and I did see that they have 30-pound propane tanks, but the issue was they weren't RV mountable. So I would still have to create get somebody to weld up some sort of cage or mounting device, whereas the RV propane ones are just ready to mount up to a frame. So that's what steered me also from the 2 grill tanks, was I would have had to create some cage frame, and I would have had to pay somebody to do it because it's I don't have the ability to weld. And so for that reason, I wanted to go to one dedicated tank just so I could buy it, mount it up, hopefully, and get rolling from there. And I don't know always that the 30-pound ones that they sell at those stores that aren't RV specific are able to be put on their sides. That's the other big kicker that I found and learned, is not all of them are able to be operated on their sides or meant to be operated on their sides. So Jumanji say found a 12.2 for 200. That may be the one I'm actually talking to a guy about right now. So I'm talking to a guy about a 12.2 gallon for 200, but it was once filled with propane, is not now filled with propane, but still is considered hazardous material. So the shipping quotes he's gotten are like $500. So that I don't know that one's going to happen unless he can find a way to ship it to me. So, and it's in Ohio, so I don't know that that's worth it to drive to Ohio to get that. Did I put the finishing touches on the couch/bed I'm sitting on? Yeah, so, well, there's only one cushion here right now, and this one actually is for the dinette table when it drops down. But here, I can probably show you guys. We're gonna get real fancy here, guys. I'll show you. Everything is fully functional with the couch now. So let me just figure out how I'm going to do this. Woohoo! Look at this. We are advanced. Advanced live streaming. So all these pull out now. You can see my mom, my wonderful mother, has been hard at work doing my cushions for me. She's doing an amazing job. All have zippers on the back of them. But the nice part that I did with all these now is they all lock out. So these all completely, this one's back a little bit, but they lock out. I can stand on them, do a little shake. They're not going anywhere. And so I just need cushions for these. And then I have my bed up here, which is a king bed. So almost ready for guests, even though the bus isn't really ready. And so those just have a little latch in the back and they go in like that. So the last thing I still have to add is little pieces here in the front to be able to lock them in for when I'm driving. I'm just going to probably take a little piece of wood that will be able to turn sideways, so these will stay locked in when I'm driving. Another thing I'll show you real quick is computer's almost falling here. It's okay. So another awesome family contribution. My cousin Mikey does like 3D printing and has his own business, and you can see I botched this hole a little bit here, but he came in here and I was gonna like repaint these and just leave them white, but he was like, why don't we print something that you can put in there and make it a little cap? And I love it. It's perfect. It's got a little lip on it, and this is necessary because when these slide out, obviously they got hardware on them, and so it just boop fits in there just perfectly, and so these can match up and everything's nice and flush. So thank you, Mikey. Just another awesome family member helping out with the build. All right, let's see if we can get back to that same setup now. That's the real question. Do, 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 do. Okay. All right. Wow, we're back. So, Andy said, I've heard of the school, This Poet's Journey. We saw him in Door County this weekend. I think I've maybe heard of that one. It sounds familiar. I actually do know another guy who was just in Door County this weekend and was loving it and was like, oh my gosh, Wisconsin's amazing. And it makes me sad how much people like sleep on Wisconsin and don't give it a chance. And I feel like schooly people, when they come to the Midwest, they just like breeze over Wisconsin. I don't know if it's like too far north or everybody just is like attracted to Chicago or something, but don't sleep on Wisconsin, guys. You want a good time, good people, great cheese, good beer. Everybody loves beer here, so you just can't go wrong. Let's see. Jacoby said, will my bike fit in the garage? It will, hopefully. I'm excited to get it back. Hopefully it's next week, and then make my mounts back there and show you guys the kind of finished garage and all the wire tucking and everything that's gone on back there with all the electrical, because it looks pretty nice. So, and he said, will I charge a different amount to be a guest depending on season and location you're parked at? Yeah, my rates throughout the year vary. If you want to come be a guest on the bus, you know, in the winter time we'll have the additional cost of the diesel heater fuel. Not everybody is always welcome. That would be quite the invitation to put out there. But there will certainly be lots of people coming through the bus to hang out, and I can't say that there will be a fee. But he wants me to keep Wisconsin on the DL because it's a hidden gem. So I guess now that I showed you guys the couch, I'll give you guys kind of a little tour of everything else. Jumanji's asking for it, and I think that seems appropriate. So I'll turn it over here to the dinette. So here you see, got the dinette going on, and this is pretty much complete. So got the butcher block table, little dinette light that swings out. That was just added this weekend, and the bulb in here right now, I switched this fixture from 110 to 12 volt, and the bulb in here is just like a LED bulb, but I'm actually going to get a like decorative Edison bulb. I just like the look of it a little bit better, and this one's just too bright, honestly. I didn't think it was going to be, but it is. So Jimmy's asking if any engine drivetrains upgrades coming for the bus. There's a bug in my beer. Extra protein. No engine or drivetrain upgrades, just maintenance. Definitely some maintenance to do. I greased a bunch of stuff today. But I don't know, let's see what else you guys could know about the dinette. Here's the table drop down. I'm not going to do it right now. Oh, one thing I'll show you that hopefully it'll focus on. You can see down here, functioning USB outlet. Check it out, people. So that is, I figured USB outlet would be good here. This is where when guests sleep, you know, they can plug phones in, whatever. And if I'm here working, most stuff runs off of USB now or has some type of USB charging. So good spot for it. Let's move onward to coffee bar. Nothing too exciting over here. Butcher block is done here. Like I mentioned, this is a functioning outlet now. And then all the drawers. So all good, ready to go. This bottom one doesn't have a handle on it, as you can see. I gotta touch up the paint on the front of there, so it is what it is. One of those kind of putting it off for now projects because there's just other priorities, you know. And then everybody's favorite, the kitchen. So Here in the kitchen, we've got our utensil drawer, so got a nice utensil sorter in here. This is a nice wide drawer. And then, I'm sure you guys, many of you seen, shelving storage up here. Nice soft close hinges, so you can just drop them, not even have to worry about it, which I really like. And then potentially my favorite part of the kitchen now is the backsplash. This was one of the best last minute design changes there ever could have been. So, and then you guys have probably noticed, and if you follow along, you know this, but all this trim was added as well. And I think this like really took it from feeling like a bus in construction to like, and it still feels like a bus construction, don't get me wrong, but it makes it feel more homey because it like squares off the windows. Here, I'll show you guys the ones here real quick, just because you get like the 3 in a row. So you can see we ran this one big one at the top. This is like a 5.5 inch wide, and all of our wires are tucked behind here. So this is hiding all of our wires. And then these are just like caps I made basically. So it's got one front plate and then 2 side pieces. And the reason I did this and connected them all together first was I didn't want to have to put nails in the fronts of these. I wanted to keep them as is. And so, let me just make sure we're still going here. These don't have any screws on the front of them. Just, in my opinion, the less holes that can be showing, the better. So the screws are actually on the sides. So that's that. We'll go back to the kitchen. So, like I showed you earlier, propane cooktop, just a little 2-burner. I didn't feel the need for anything else, and didn't also feel the need for an oven, which is why I ended up with the cooktop. I'm still gonna have a little toaster oven, which should be plenty for me, but I didn't need 4 burners and an oven. I'd rather have this mega fridge. So, and this you see here was the cutout of the sink. So this is what I cut out of the sink, and then I just made it into this like 3-sided cutting board. And the reason I made this, well, it was actually the idea of a lady who works here at my dad's office, and she said, oh, you should use that extra sink piece to make a cutting board with and like slide over so you can kind of, cover your cooktop or whatever. And I was like, that's a really good idea. But why I also really like it is then I'm not cutting on the actual counters and I'm cutting on here instead. So this gets nicked up and not the counters, hopefully. So bring you guys a little closer to the sink if I can, because I want to show you this beautiful stainless steel. Jacoby's saying the coffee bar for sure, good spot for a pony keg cooler. I wish I had that kind of actual space, but maybe someday if I just decide I really don't need things. So sticking with the whole copper theme, this is kind of, well, it wasn't what like set the copper theme, but copper theme already was something we kind of decided on, and then we found this, and this was Facebook Marketplace score, like I said, along with the stainless steel sink. And this sink is huge. I don't know if you guys can get kind of a perspective of it, but it is a large sink. So take this guy away, and it's 26 inches wide by like 16 or 18 inches deep. Undermounted. This was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've done with the bus, cutting this out, because I bought a whole 10-foot slab from Home Depot. And so I cut it down for the coffee bar, I cut it down for this, and then I had to cut out the propane and then this. Propane Cooktop I wasn't as worried about because it has edges that cover over the top. Because I was undermounting this, I knew the edges were going to show if they didn't line up. And they're not perfect. I call it the custom natural hand cut spec. You know, it really gives it so much character. So it's all about how you market it, guys. It's all about how you market it. So just gives it that extra little bit of character. But this is our fresh water out of the tank, and then this is actually filtered drinking water. So goes through like 4 different filters. Also something I got from a lady on Facebook Marketplace. She was the one who got the great tanks from, water pump, max fan. She had all sorts of stuff, and so that was a great find. So that's pretty much. Oh, you guys have probably seen the fridge, but the fridge is pretty well finalized now. So I'll back you up a little bit more. It actually has locks now, so it stays locked in, but it slides all the way out. Last thing I had to do with this, I ran a wire for it yesterday to wire it up to 12 volt. But I had to make some modifications because the frame that we had here was in the way. And the only other thing I had to do is keep this from shifting on the base plate that it's on. And then the fridge will be done. And I haven't had it running for any, you know, because I don't really need it right now. And even though I'm hooked up to power and stuff, it's like I'm not living in here, so I don't need to run the fridge yet. So I'll finalize it all once I actually need it and I decide I'm going to live in it, which probably will become late August, early September. But for now, it's pretty much done. And then, let's see. Oh, David, Bo has emerged. Hello, Bo. How you do, Bo? Here, I'll show you the state of the bathroom right now. So, super mega exciting. You can see we've got our my cold water, hot water sitting here waiting to go, and then everything is all framed out, and got to fix a few things to get it ready for Hardy Backer board. But I'll tell you guys what I've been kind of doing today and what was kind of delaying me getting this stuff done. Tight space. So this wall here, I went through like a couple iterations of what I was going to try and do here, and was originally going to try and get really creative with a pocket door tucked between 2 3/4-inch pieces of plywood, and making it with like drawer slides, because you can't find pocket door hardware or anything that works in this kind of space. That wasn't going to work. And then I decided barn door, and originally had this wall actually set back 1.5 inches because I was just trying to preserve the space out here. So I figured if I could set it back 1.5 inches, then better. But then realized it actually needs to be flush with this pole and this pole in order for the barn door to slide well along here. So I spent most of my afternoon hacking this out of here, because what I did to myself, I thought, oh, I'm never gonna have to move this wall, blah, 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 and I wanted it to be super sturdy because there's gonna be tile on the back side of this. I had put screws on both sides of the 2x4 framing that was going into here, pocket screws going into a stud. Well, then we put 1/2-inch plywood on top of that, and then shiplap on top of that. It's all glued and everything. So I ended up having to bust out the Sawzall and cut through the screws so that I could bump the hole, and cut through screws on the bottom so I could bump the whole wall out and get it flush here. So now it's flush. And I can pretty confidently start to put Hardy Backer on the back of here, which is tile board backer, and then continue to build out the bathroom, because the water's tested in here, it doesn't leak. The electricals ran on the coffee bar outlet, so it's all rolling pretty good. And yeah, so this is like the last big mega thing that I've got to do. And then obviously you can see bed. It's nice and comfy. Hit your head sometimes when you get into it, but I actually can manage to step up onto it forwards. The beauties of being tall. But got my fan remote all mounted up here. Fans have been running like crazy. And then obviously the bedding. So that's the brief tour here. You guys are getting all the looks before this stuff actually comes out. And then, I mean, on top of all this stuff, there's even been kind of some random projects I've been doing in the background, not necessarily related to, you know, the kitchen or the bathroom, or, you know, it's like all little things, like getting these locks put in for the slides, stuff on the exterior of the bus, just cleaning up little projects here and there. So Jumanji's asking if I'm going to chase the warm weather or am I going to be in cold climate. So probably both. Where'd my beer go? Guys, most importantly, oh, there's my beer. I'm going to do a little bit of both. So my motivation, well, not my only motivation for doing this, but I do a lot of outdoor activities of all sorts. So whether it's mountain biking, hiking, things in the summertime, or it's skiing and doing things in the absolute frigid cold that nobody, or that some people would never want to do, or they hate the cold. I love it all. And honestly, I think sometimes I like the winter stuff in skiing better. But I plan to hop around. You know, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes places for a couple days, sometimes places for a couple months. So I'm pretty certain I'll be spending some winter here in Wisconsin, just around the holidays. So that was one of the big reasons. Well, one of the big reasons I wanted to insulate well was because I knew I was going to want to take it to mountains and skiing and things like that. But knowing I live in Wisconsin and I'm going to be back here to see my family, things like that, obviously having it well insulated and a good heat source is important. So for me, hot, cold, doesn't matter. I'm going there and gonna have fun. So Dibbit said the front too. So I'll show the front here in a second. Shimon said, what's your total bus build hours? I don't even want to know. Total hours. I couldn't even give you an estimated number, to be honest. So I could tell you price-wise, I think this is kind of an estimation. I haven't done some totaling since I was like at around $14,000 all in, but I think total probably the bus is going to be around 30 to 35,000 all in. And some of that's just like, you know, things other people typically wouldn't have to deal with, all the welding we had to do, all that stuff. Also, like, I made sure to get nice solar componentry and batteries, so it's like, it may sound like a high number, but I'm trying to use good components and things and not necessarily worrying about the number so much, and more or less worrying about making it a bus I want, and also a bus that if I were to sell it someday, it's gonna probably sell for what I put into it or more. So Jumanji said, do I plan to get window covers for the heat or the cold? Yes. So Mom, if you're still watching, that's probably next on the list of sewing things. I definitely, I mean, window covers, curtains are going to be huge, even for regulating the heat. So I can tell, you know, when it's outside, definitely I get all the windows open, the emergency exit, couple ones that we have that swing out on gas struts, I open those, get the fans going, and it creates a nice cross breeze. But I think the ability to just like not have windows creating like that blaring sun greenhouse effect will be a huge help. So that's definitely a must have before I hit the road, because A, for that, and B, for privacy. I do not want to be out sleeping about with, or even like parking at places with giving the people the ability to look in and snoop around. So a good question, Jacoby. Well, who do you watch on YouTube for any ideas on your build? A lot of different people. And I mostly watch like to not necessarily always do exactly what other people are doing, or like do things exactly how they've done or how multiple people have done it or whatever, but it's like more or less like hear and see like what they like about it, what they don't, see how the build went, see how I think maybe there'd be ways to improve it or change the design or just like make it my own. So that's kind of like how the couch came about. But like, I guess if I were to give some names, like obviously there's the more popular one, Navigation Nowhere, Mike, I watch him. Our Way to Rome is a shuttle bus couple that actually they're currently building a shuttle bus to sell. They have their own, but this is like they've lived out of vans, shuttles, and now they're building one to sell. And it seems like they've gotten pretty good and really like know what to expect from life on the road, because they've been living on the road for like over 5 years, I think. So they're somebody I've recently watched more. But again, like I said, it's mostly like get a grasp of kind of what some people are doing, but then still come up with my own way to make it my own and make it work for my purposes, and just like thinking about how I'm going to use the space versus how they're maybe going to use the space, right? So maybe somebody who's going to put their electrical under their couch isn't going to care as much about how it is to access it, because they're probably not going to need to access it as much as if it was like storage that you're getting stuff out of. So everybody's going to build something for different purposes, and so that's why I kind of watch it, you know, hear what their plans are for it, what they're thinking, and then find a way to make it my own. And yeah, it's fun. I really enjoy, and I really enjoy like having people come and see the bus and then being like, well, how did you come up with that? And I'm like, you know, some of it, certainly there's inspiration or out there, but then there's other things where it's like, oh, I just made it up, you know, thought about it and thought about the different ways to do it, and then you start trying things and maybe you refine it as you go, but you just, it's cool to just be able to build things and then it works out and you're like, wow, okay, now I built a bus, cool. So Jacoby's saying he used a closet route across the front seats and thick blackout curtains for privacy. Also keeps the heat out of the main living space. Yeah. So that's a good segue to the front there, Jacoby. Dibbit wants to see the front, which is probably the least exciting part of the whole bus right now. Oh, besides the new window. So you can see you got the TV over here. This is on a big swivel mount. So still need to find a way to secure that. That's been swinging around as I've been driving the bus a little bit the last few days. But front end wise, this is like, again, this is kind of, I would say, lower on my priority list of things, just because this isn't really going to do that much for me, because I put this new window in, which is awesome. I haven't had a window up here for probably at least 8 months because the old one was cracked and whatever. Took it out, and then just took forever to get one in here. And it was a pain in the butt to get in, but it got it in. But I want to keep this open and keep this light coming in. So I'm probably just going to put like some sort of big plywood faceplate that'll have a big opening. It'll just kind of cover up a little bit of this so you don't really see like the bottom side ugliness under the window. And I can kind of tuck some stuff away up here on this shelf. And then over here above the driver's seat, I'm going to have probably just a cabinet. But on the note, I think it was Jacoby that said it, this area, this window and the driver's, or the windshield creates a lot of that like greenhouse effect, just like blaring sun in here and making it an oven. And so I'm almost certainly going to have a curtain that goes across the front here, and because it'll line up nicely with just like going across to the door, and then it'll just block off this whole cab area and hopefully eliminate a lot of that heat from continuing backwards. So you can see down here obviously got some wiring and things to tidy up, and I'll probably cover some of this up yet with little boxes, just to help with some of the sound deadening from the engine bay. Not going to have like a ton of storage or anything up here. Going to keep it pretty simple probably. So oh, hey, Green Eggs and Honey. I know you asked me about the couch plan. I will work on it sometime here in the next couple weeks. Hopefully I'll have that to you. So Green Eggs and Honey had asked me about plans for the couch and if I have any drawn up plans. And that is one thing that I do plan to create a resource on and put out there for the world. So I don't know if it's going to be free or not. I would like to have it be a little income source, not that it's going to be huge or anything, but it will take some time to put together a nice detailed couch plan. And but I'll definitely have that out here and I'll make an announcement about it when I do, certainly. But I think this is a cool couch design that more people should consider. But yeah, that'll be something coming. Green Eggs and Honey, thanks for staying on top of me. I'll get it to you. So, Jumanji said that could be a loft for more guests. I would not put a guest up there. I would not do that to them. Also, it's not large enough. Maybe for an infant, but then your infant would also be baking in the sun when they wake up. So, I did, the one thing, this down here, my brother Andy and Amanda, if you're still watching, you know, this is going to be the dog den. So they got their nice space down here, and I bought an IKEA junior mattress that fits perfectly in the space, so they'll have a nice mattress. I've got another like pillow that goes around the outside as like a bolster pillow. But, you know, you wash the mattress, wash the sheets, and that very quickly becomes a kid's room. So Andy and Amanda, you know, you need to get rid of Izzy and Luke. I got a bed for them. Kids bunk. They love it. Little kid cave. So we'll see if there's any little nieces and nephews that come stay on the bus. We keep joking about Camp Uncle Johnny and the kids come and stay on the bus, but we'll see if they trust me with them. You know, it might be too fun. They might never want to go back home. They might want to live on a bus the rest of their lives. So that's the risk you're gonna have to take. All right. I'll hop back to a couple more questions that I had. My sister had asked what's next for the bathroom. Finishing it, that's what's next for the bathroom. And Vinny and Van asked if I had to get a custom front door made, which I did not. That was from the garage of the house I was renting, which was, my brother was my landlord. And found it in the garage one day and asked him if he had any use for it, and he said put it on your bus. And so I made it work. So if you know the front door, you know the bright orange front door, it stands out certainly. And somebody commented on my shuttle bus or pros and cons of shuttle bus YouTube video the other day, and told me the bus looked like a patched up bus with the front door and everything. So I told him, well, don't worry, my patched up bus isn't going to be coming to RV parks anytime soon. So Jimmy asked if I'm going to teach my dogs to use the bus bathroom. I don't know. Maybe I'll teach them to like pee in the shower and it'll just drain, or I'll rinse it after. No, the dogs are going to the bathroom outside and outside only. So that is the Jumanji said to go with a recirculating shower. Well, recirculating shower would be nice, but at this point, with how much water I have, I don't need it. I'm okay with short showers. I'm okay with showering not in the bus that often, or I probably can shower in the bus that often, just taking short showers, but that would just not high on my priority list. Maybe something I could incorporate down the road if I really feel like it, but I'd rather get on the road with the amount of water that I have, see how long it lasts me, see what kind of showers I can take, and then go from there. So, and Jacoby's asking about the bus paint. So the paint is holding up. I mean, it's holding up all right. I will say there's definitely like, it's not like the most pristine paint job you've ever seen in the world. There's still a couple of light spots, but it's like we used I think looking back on it all, our main problem was we used a white primer under a dark color. So even though we put 6 coats of paint on top of it, it was still showing through every time we sanded it. And so with a dark color, you're supposed to use a gray primer. And I don't know that that's our issue, but there's a couple light spots that show through here and there. It looks pretty good overall, and it's such a process that that's one of those things that it's like, well, maybe in the middle of winter, I'll pull it back in the warehouse and paint it when I'm bored someday if I got time. But I know it's going to get nicked up on the road. I know it's going to get beat up on the road. I mean, it's a bus, and I'm not going to like painstakingly pick apart my my paint job, but I think it looks pretty good still, and it's been so dirty most of the time that you can't even tell. So Green Eggs and Honey said yes, recirculating shower. Well, you guys are all about it. We'll see if I end up feeling like I need it, but it's definitely a cool concept, and for those who do have it, seem to really enjoy it. But with a deadline looming, I'm trying to check off the projects that I already have before adding more projects, and really finding what's necessary or what I feel like is necessary versus what's like, oh, that would be cool, but do I really need it? So that's kind of where I'm at now with everything regarding the bus. Train horn. Jacoby wants me to add a train horn. You know, funny enough, that is something I have considered, because the horn is so wimpy that, like, I feel like it wouldn't do anything if I honked at somebody, even though I'm this giant bus. And I have an air parking brake and air ride in the rear, so it wouldn't be that hard to hook up a train horn. But again, probably one of those projects like, okay, buy a train horn, and while I'm sitting somewhere, install it one day as a fun project. But I definitely need a louder horn. At least at night, I can blind people with my light bar up front if they get, cut me off, or like I get mad at them. But during the day, horn's not going to do too much for me. Jimmy asked stacks or side exit exhaust, which, Jimmy, you already know that. The exhaust is side exit, which is probably going to get a muffler, to be honest. I'm not 100% set on it yet, but it is pretty loud. It is, since it's straight piped and it like comes out right behind the driver's seat. It's decently loud. and there's still a lot of noise coming through the firewall of the bus and just like the engine compartment, not necessarily the exhaust tip. But for the sake of the dogs and like, you know, maybe like crawling past people while they're sleeping late at night in their vehicles or whatever, I'll probably at least throw a little muffler on it to try and bring the noise down a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see. Jimmy also said, when is the bus dyno video coming out? Well, I don't know that there's a dyno big enough to put the bus on it, and I don't know if that's something that you can actually do. But I will say, and this is the first time I've really said this to anybody outside of like Chris or some other people, I've had this idea recently that a series I'm going to do when I'm out on the road, YouTube series, I'm going to do bus drag races. And it sounds crazy, but like it'd be kind of fun, you know, like I'm a car guy, but also like I think non-vehicle, non-car people would enjoy it because it's like, okay, let's take Chris and Sarah's, you know, bus has a different motor than mine, but it's heavier, but mine's 4 feet longer, and is tuned. So, you know, like, or like take my bus versus like a short bus that has a gas motor, and like, just like, I think it would be kind of a fun way. A, it's just kind of quirky, but B, it would be a fun way for people to be like, oh, okay, like, even though this bus is 32 feet long, and it's a shuttle bus, it beat the school bus that was, you know, 24 feet long because the school bus weighed way more, or, you know, had a different motor and transmission combination, whatever. I think it would be a fun way to educate people on some of the mechanicals of buses. And I mean, who doesn't want to see some bus drag racing in cool places, right? So that'll be maybe a potential YouTube series almost certainly. I'm pretty set on the fact that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of finding people when I'm out on the road, which I'm sure I will find plenty of willing participants to the bus drag races. So all in for the bus drag racing. That's what I like to hear. So Jacoby said he's got a 06, 43-foot Monaco with dual turbos. Okay, yeah, you're probably going to smoke me. I don't know if I can, I don't know if the bus can keep up with any sort of RV, because my grandpa used to have a 41 or 43-foot RV, and he was talking to me the other day about, I was telling him I'm not going to tow the car anymore because the bus wouldn't be able to handle it up mountain passes and even a lot of hills and things like that. And he was like, oh, that's weird, like, really? And I was like, yeah, you know, like the power just isn't there and the transmissions aren't made for it. And he's like, oh, well, you know, mine used to have like 600 horsepower and, you know, 1,007 foot-pounds of torque. And I was like, yeah, my bus has 200 horsepower and I don't even know how many pound-feet of torque. So RVs are just, I mean, they're meant for travel. They're meant to be going to these places, going up passes, towing things. Buses are not meant for that, which I think people need to set their expectations levels a little bit with that when going and traveling on a bus, and realizing you're not going to be flying up hills. You're not going to be passing people. You're going to be cruising in the right lane, and that's where you're going to be. And it's even going to be hard for me to get used to that, to be honest. It will take some getting used to, but I at least think I'm going to set my expectations properly so that when I'm crawling up a mountain at 25 miles an hour, I'm not angry at myself or the bus. So, Jacoby, I will gladly have you on my bus drag racing, but you will almost certainly smoke me, even though the bus is tuned. So, the bus model Jumanji is a International 3400 with an Eldorado coach. So it's got the T44E motor, which is basically the Ford 7.3 Power Stroke diesel from the early 2000s. Pretty much the same motor. And the previous owners of this put a chip in it. So I have 3 different power settings. They do seem to make a difference. When I've been driving and when I had driven the bus previously, like I played around with it, and the throttle response and just like ability for the bus to get up and go is significantly different on the 3 different modes. So I'm glad I have that to go with. Yeah, bus obstacle course. You know, maybe the bus obstacle course will be in it. That seems like something I would be less willing to do, just because that's like more things flying all over the place. Not to say that I'm not going to be going on roads that are going to cause things to fly all over the place, but maybe the bus obstacle course will be a second iteration of the bus drag races. So we'll see. It'll all be an evolution that will start with the bus drag races, and then we'll go from there. And also now I know that if anybody else starts bus drag racing on their channel, you know, I've said it here, I've said the idea here, maybe I shouldn't have, but I know they took it from me. So you better watch out if you think you're going to start a bus drag racing channel. I'm taking that niche. So, yeah. If you guys got any more questions, drop them in the comments. I don't think I had any more on here. Let me see. No, just Jimmy asking about the bus, and Jumanji's or Jacoby's said driving 5560 is fine with me. I got used to it. Keep in mind, not a race to get there. Short drive, stop off, and take lots of pictures. Absolutely, absolutely. I think that is very, very true. I think I'll be cruising probably anywhere 60 to 65. That's kind of a sweet spot for this bus. Technically, gear ratios top out at 81, according to the paperwork, but I have zero plans to go that fast in this bus. It sounds terrifying. But yeah, it's all about the journey, and the best part is you can stop whenever you want, rest whenever you want, and the whole part of being in this and doing this is to get out and enjoy various spaces and just experience places, and driving just lightning shot from destination to destination. Probably not what I'm going to do most of the time. So, plot twist: Johnny dressing in drag and racing. Hey, maybe that gets more views. I mean, maybe maybe the YouTube algorithm would like that better. Drag racing buses in drag. I mean, you tell me, but that seems like a good YouTube title that people would click on. So maybe that's the stipulation, is if you're going to come drag race your bus, you have to also dress in drag. So that would be funny. That would be funny. Cool. Anything else, guys? That's it for me. We've been on here for like an hour and 15 minutes. I didn't expect this to last this long, but you guys are lucky I like to talk. But, I mean, you guys have been talking back, so you've kept me talking, which is always helpful, and I hope this has been a nice little live. I mean, I know when I released a previous video about Reagan and I separating, I said I want to get back on track and start releasing weekly videos again, but it's just been still staying busy with work, to be honest, and which is a very good thing. I would rather be, too busy than, well, not to say I don't love making bus content, and I would love to put all my heart and soul into bus content, but bus content doesn't fund the bus right now. Real content I make for other people funds the bus right now. So hopefully someday bus content will fund the bus, and I will continue to put effort into this, but it's just a matter of kind of getting over some more of this work. And kitchen videos coming out this week now that the kitchen's done. That was another big thing. I'm trying to have the videos be a little bit more structured, where it's not just like, hey, here's what I've done in the last week, because it hasn't always been, the kitchen has been like a multiple week thing, although it seems like it's all like come together really fast. The like cabinetry got done and the drawers and stuff, and then I was waiting on the counter, and then the counter got here and I did the counter, and then I had to do the sink, and then I decided to do the backsplash, and I'd rather like make it. I feel like it'd be more beneficial to people, and people like it more if it's just a little bit more like, hey, here's the kitchen, and here's how I did all this, rather than here's a little bit of the kitchen, and I hung a dinette light, and I greased everything on the underside of the bus, and I did these other random projects, because that's how it works sometimes. I get very ADD when I'm here. Sometimes it's like, okay, I know the project at hand, and this is what I'm doing, but usually that's only for like one day. And even within the days, most of the time, I'm all over the place. So, Jumanji says Miles merch. It'll come, certainly. I definitely want to put some merch out there. More or less, not necessarily things directly related to like me and Miles, but more about like things that have positive messages, and just like iterate like the essence of like why I'm doing this, and like the life I'm trying to live, and things like that. So I definitely want to put merch out there, and obviously that's a great way to get people to help support you and just show their support for you. And I want to give you guys a way to support me even more if you want to, and obviously get Miles and good messages out there more into the world, because the more good that can be out there getting spread, the better. So Jacoby said that second Miles merch. Beer glass. Oh, wow. Why did I not think of that? Red Solo cups? Oh, red Solo cups with the dogs on it. Wow. You guys are giving me all the good ideas. I didn't even think about a beer glass. But like, I mean, the red Solo cups have really been a staple of the channel. So maybe I have to make some fancy, reusable red Solo cups with some form of Miles or the dogs on them. That would be pretty cool. So got to get everybody drinking out of the red Solos. Well, these aren't the best. Plastic, not ideal, but it's here. So, Brian says, how you doing? I'm doing good, Brian. Thanks for Johnny Beer Koozies, baseball hats. Brian, I'm doing good. Good to see you. Thanks for hopping on here. Brian's another frequent flyer of the Miles Instagram and YouTube. Always love seeing you around, Brian. Oh, and baseball hats. Maybe I should make some butt sis merch. Like, everybody cares about my butt so much, so I should make some butt sis related shirts. But yeah, I think merch would be awesome, and I think once I'm on the road, I'll hopefully have a little bit more time to kind of dive into that kind of stuff, and really like put some more creative energy towards it. I've felt a lot more like creative as of lately, and just like wanting to really pursue things, potential podcasts, long-term, potentially streams and things like that. So it's definitely coming, and a lot of gears are turning up here. So, Ball has aluminum cups now. Good to know, Kevin. Brian's talking about the kitchen. Thanks, Brian. Just loving the stonework. My favorite part by far. Beer koozie that looks like a red Soul. Jeez, you guys, I think I need you guys as my merch consultants. Guys, or I just need to like have a live stream where it's just like, tell me all the merch things you want. But I love the ideas. Thank you guys for throwing those out there, and I definitely some things coming, and this gets me excited to hear that you guys actually would even want anything of the sort or anything to do with Miles or the bus is pretty cool. And it would be really cool to know that people are out there wearing a Miles shirt or wearing something that came from all this. So Miles of Smiles assist comforting butt cushion for driving. That's it. There is the butt sis merch. That's it. So I'll tell you this quick story, and then probably get going here, getting close to dinner time. But I got my surgery on Wednesday, June 16th, and that Saturday flew out to Texas to go help my brother move into a new house. So my brother and his wife were moving. They have a little boy, and they wanted some help moving. So I thought it'd be a great idea. Oh, I'll be fine. I can sit on a plane for 2 flights there, 2 flights back. And I got one of those neck pillows, the like C ones or whatever, and tried to sit on it on the plane, and it didn't really do too much. It was probably 4 of the worst plane rides I've ever been in, just because it wasn't super comfortable. But I did use a pillow, so the Butt Sis official donut pillow, branded with Miles of Smiles. Maybe it'll keep people happy, when they're going through the same butt system adventure that I've gone through. But apparently they're more common than I ever realized, the butt cysts are. So if you didn't know that. Cool. Well, I think I'm going to call it there, guys, unless anybody's got last things to say, last questions, whatever. But thank you to anybody that hopped on, even if for a little while. Thank you, of course, to everybody that's kept interacting and kept this stream going, kept me thinking and talking. I wanted to just use this as an opportunity for you guys to ask questions, get some sneak peeks and other things that are going to be coming out in videos, get you excited, talking about some projects that are down the road. And, it's getting close, folks. Mid-September is officially the launch date. So whether this bus is 100% done, well, who am I kidding? It's not going to be 100% done. It'll be probably 90% done. But it's going to Asheville in September. It's getting new tires next week, so it's going to be ready to rock. And yeah, September is coming quick. So Kobe said butt cushion can also be used for holding beer while floating down the river. Jesus, perfect, guys. This is just genius. I got all sorts of things to think about now. All sorts of things to think about. Just too many good potential merch ideas and butt merch ideas. Whoever thought there could be so many butt merch ideas. But thanks for hopping on, guys. And stay on the lookout for the video this week. Of course, I would imagine the 9 of you that are on here right now are subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. This week's video is probably not going to come out on Friday. I want to get it out hopefully Tuesday to you guys. It's going to be about the kitchen. Some of the things you guys saw this time, probably some more up close and personal with it. Showing a little bit more inside, some of the workings that we've got going in there, water system, stuff like that. But much more detailed, obviously going to show you how we built it. And yeah, that is coming. So subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, so you're notified when that video comes out and when every other video comes out, because they'll sometimes come out on Fridays, they'll sometimes not come out on Fridays. But thanks for hanging, guys. Kevin said tires, that should be cheap. Yeah, tires aren't going to be cheap, but I'm excited to get them done. So yes. Thanks for hanging, guys, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. We'll see you in a few days, and then maybe we'll do another live here sometime soon, so we can just get chatting and hanging some more, have another beer or a few next time. But yeah, we'll catch you later. Thanks for hanging, guys. If I can turn this thing off here. Here we go. See you later.